everyone. Well, today we're going to talk about the third row of Samoin. Now the third row, which starts with number 23 and goes up to 33, is the synthesis row, we could say, of that first row, that subjective row, the foundation row. And then the last time we spoke, we finished going through the second row, which had to do then with the objectification of that first row, or the O aspect of it, but the lower O aspect of it. And because we're going down into depth as we proceed. And the third row then has to do with the synthesis of the first two rows, and it's the equivalent to the esque, the third condition in the first row, the foundation row. It's equivalent to, as esque is to the O and the Ah, meaning the place where you have a common union between the O and the Ah, and the commonality where they join and so forth, and how they can become as a unit. And so the third row is going to start with 23. 23 is same two. Now same two is the triangle, and because it is the third row and it's the foundation of the third row, it's very important. It's stated in Oahspe that with Oahspe comes the understanding of the same two, what the same two means, what the triangle means. Same two is the ancient word for triangle. Now the triangle that's shown in the same two is actually not the equilateral triangle, but in fact it's a 90-degree triangle with two 45-degree angles. And so you have 90 degrees up here and 45s here on the circle. And note that they are above the foundation, so they're actually pointing up to the all highest, up to the point, and then coming down to the edges, in other words to the east and to the west and to the south. When I spoke of those directions, they may seem opposite to you from what we're used to seeing, like on our maps. When we look at a regular map, a map of the world, for example, or a map of your country, we know that there's an east side and a west side, but how that map looks is you're looking down from it, from the top, from the north. Essentially, it's looking down from above. The directions as they're spoken about, given in Samoin and in Oahspe and in the Inner Temple and so forth, actually have the east to the left, to a person's left, which for you would be over here, and the west to the person's right over here. And they would have the south in the top and the north in the bottom. And the reason for that is because it's, instead of looking at things from looking down upon things, it's looking up, so that were you to face south, the sun, when you're facing south at high noon, is up here, and the east is on your left, which would be, for you, would be over here, and the sun would rise up to the south, to the zenith, and then come down here to the other horizon in the west, which would be to your right. And so that's how they show the directions in Oahspe. And so the south would be up here, and then that would mean then that the north would be underneath, would be at the nadir, down below, or essentially behind you. And this is shown in Oahspe, and it's actually shown in the tablet of Samoin. We can see this in Samoin in numbers 63, 64, 65, and 66. If we get to that in this series, we can go through what the meanings of those as well. But the reason that we're bringing this up is we're seeing in number same to 23, on the foundation of the third row, we're seeing the horizon, the east and the west, and then we're seeing the zenith, the high noon. And so one ceremony that they're in is in the Imathachava ceremony in the Oahspe. Imathachava means the order of Faithists, essentially. And there we have 3 degrees, the first 3 degrees of progression. And the first degree is the dawn degree, and of course the dawn occurs in the east. And the second degree is the high dang, which of course is high noon, means high noon. And the third degree is the Mahav degree, which is in the west when the sun sets. Essentially, the same two is dealing with this realm that's out here and it's seen. You can see the realm, and this, when you see the realm, this not only the corporeal realm that you might see, but also the spiritual realm that you see when you look out. It has to do with looking upward and progressing. The synthesis row that starts with same two is the union of the subjective row and the objective row, the first 2 rows, and so we're synthesizing our subjective experience and our objective experience. The way the same two is constructed, we note that it has a 90-degree angle. Now 90 degrees is very important because we're told in Oahspe to be square with the world, and the square does have the 90-degree angle. And so when we think of the all-highest, we need to think of the all-highest in terms of righteousness, in terms of our aspirations, in terms of our aim where we're moving toward. Because same two is situated right below Gan. It is the objectification, we could say, of Gan, even as Gan is the objectification of the foundation of the Ah. So the Ah row, Gan, then is the objectification of that first row. Similarly, same two and the third row is an objectification of Gan, of the second row. So that in a sense we can say that the same two represents an objective view of man. Because if we're up here, we can look down and we can see the whole field that's laid out. And because we are looking at it at a 90 degrees, that denotes righteousness. It denotes righteousness, but is it righteous, and what is righteousness? And that's where the next number comes after 23, which is 24, which is the tui, or the fui, which is the square. And that represents righteousness. So tui, or fui, or the square, is to the triangle as O is to Ah, as Uga, or the test, is to man, or as hope is to man. And so the square, the tui, is in a sense an objectification of the same two.